Hi guys, welcome to our talk tonight about photography. I'm director Megan Blazig, and just to give you a little bit of background info about me, I ran a photography business for 10 years, and though I don't pick up my big camera anymore as much as I used to, one of my favorite things is to photograph life and my daughters and tell stories with photos, and I have way too many on my phone. So we're going to be talking specifically about taking pictures with your phones. I'm not going to go into like things with fancy cameras at all. It doesn't need to be overly complicated. So if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and then I can address those at the very end. But we're going to just go into elements of a great photo and how to make that happen. And then I'll introduce part of our challenge for Be Seen. So let's get started. Let's see. Okay, you guys seeing this okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. All right, awesome. Okay, so this is my daughter, Everett. She's a silly little thing that I'm sure you've seen this picture in one of those customer special graphics recently. So elements of a great photo are light, composition, the emotion or connectedness that you feel, and color. This is not a great picture. I would love for you guys to just take a minute and tell me in the chat why this is an awful picture of me. Had tons of fun trying to take some oddball pictures. Terrible lighting, absolutely. Like the lighting is really bad and you can't see the subject. Awesome, Kate. Lighting for sure. Angle, real bad. Blurry, yep. Can you see the title very well? Light right behind us. So yeah, you guys have also too close for sure. So cuts off my head, it cuts off the book title. There's crazy backlighting and the double chin, the awkward eyes, and a slight peek up my nose. Like those are not attractive things for this. Yeah, no smile, another big thing. Okay, so these are getting better, but in the left one, we've got better lighting, but the angle's really severe. I have a nice double chin and I still cut off the book title. And then in the second, in the middle one, the lighting is getting better. My eyes are getting a little better. I'm not looking at myself at this crazy awkward angle, but it's still dark on the left side of my face in the picture. So still not quite even. And then in the third one, we're getting a clearer picture of the title, still a little in shadow. If I were to edit that picture, I'll show you this later, it would still look a little weird. So maybe still not the best option. And that first one, everybody wants a good like angle that makes them look nice and thin, but it's like we shouldn't be able to tell what floors look like in the picture. We don't need to put everything that high. Yeah, it's the skinny angle for sure, Jamie. But you can see like my eyes just look off and funky and weird. And in that middle one, it's almost there, but I'm still looking at myself in the actual screen instead of looking at the camera. So that's a big, big tip. And the third one, still looking at myself. We're going to talk too, if you're like me and you wear glasses, like glasses are totally a weird thing in pictures. So I have a tip for that too. Oh, totally just refreshed my page. Sorry, pushed a button, took me out of that. Ugh. Okay, let's go back. Sorry. This is so weird sometimes. Okay. Refresh, please. Technological difficulties. We're talking photography, not presenting from Canva, right? Okay. Screen share and this one. Cool. All right. So back to this. So on this one, these are better options. Our left one, we have better lighting, the view of me, the title is legible, my eyes are connected with the person who's looking at the picture. And then in the second one, I'm facing the window, there's pretty soft, even lighting, connected, slight smile, better. So let's talk about lighting. I love to find some great windows. One of my team leaders, Amanda, has even said, you always take pictures in the same spots in your house. And I'm like, that's because they're the ones that have the best light. So find your spots in your house that have the best light and use them. You can change things up plenty. So look for not having crazy harsh shadows. One thing I'm just now thinking of is a problem I tend to have is window blinds and the lighting that comes through and that being weird on either my face or the book or whatever. So just pay attention to that. You don't want things to be crazy backlit. And what backlighting is when we were on that very first photo, this one where the light was just really, really harsh and bright behind me. That's not flattering, and you're not going to, no amount of editing is going to fix that. So if you don't take the picture well, then it's not going to, you're not going to have a great foundation at all. So also think light and bright. You want it to be fun and airy, but not so bright that you would have to squint in the photo. So the window I normally face, Jamie? Yeah. Yes, that one that I was taking all of these pictures in. Yep. This one, I do take a lot of pictures. That's in our playroom where we have bookshelves. So I just face that window instead of having it behind me. And I can use, like, we have bookshelves in there, so I can use some props for like different angles to keep things less crazy. Hang on. Okay, I don't know where that went. Okay. So anyway, light and bright, that's what we're going for. And then composition wise, you want to pay attention to the angle of your picture. You don't want it to be too crazy. Higher is not necessarily better. You essentially are wanting to invite people into the scene with you. You want to make them feel as if they're there, and people are not looking down on you like the crazy skinny angle. I do a lot of things that are just slightly above eye level because I'm not a very tall person. So there's a difference also between taking a picture to show a customer of a moment versus your best angle on your Instagram grid. So really think about, like, what are you going for here? Are you trying to showcase like this actual real live moment, or look your best? Avoid cluttered and chaotic backgrounds. Think about the whole story that you're trying to tell people. They are going to look at the whole scene of the picture and kind of assess information from that. If your point is to share, like, motherhood is really chaotic, this book is going to preoccupy my kids while I clean, that type of moment, cool. It's okay to have the laundry in the background in a book and that kind of thing. Like, it depends on what you're trying to tell. But if your husband's underwear are in the background, people are going to be focusing on that, and it's going to completely take away from the book. So just be cautious of the message that you're sharing and what things do look like. So consider, okay, portrait mode is like my favorite thing if you have an iPhone. 90% of the time I'm shooting in portrait mode. What it does is it helps to create some distance between your foreground and your background. It makes things softer in the background so that it's not all in focus. And I just love the separation that it creates. So think about whether you're giving them a full scene, also, like you need an entire room, or if my pictures earlier that I was showing, those were filling the frame really close up so that people can kind of get to know me and an emotion, essentially. Okay, so here are 3 different types of pictures. That left one, that's my laundry pile in a book. Maybe I could tell a really cool story with that and what I need to I need to fold the laundry, I need my kids to read a book. The middle one is people are going to be looking at the books on the bookshelf as much as they're looking at Kisses, Cuddles, and Goodnight. But if I'm wanting to maybe spotlight Kisses, Cuddles, and Goodnight for a customer special, then I want the background and everything to be really clean and clutter-free. I tend to use a lot of white in my pictures just because it makes the colors pop. It looks bright and beautiful. So that's my personal preference. There are people who definitely use cute blankets and rugs and textures in their pictures, but that's not my personal style. If it's yours, go with it. Run with it. Okay. Next, we've got, okay, here's a difference for you guys who don't know what portrait mode is. I tried to take a pretty identical picture. The one on the left, not portrait mode, you can see me, you can see the books in the background, you can see the tripod, the photos, all that stuff. Portrait mode, just a setting on my camera. The background is blurred, things are less crazy. That's not my ideal background. It's still got some clutter and things back there, but I'm much more the focus point than I was in the other. Okay, so emotion. If you are putting yourself in the picture, you can, what is her name? Tyra Banks. She says to smize. It's where you smile with your eyes, like you want to look lively. And if that feels weird for you to like laugh or like be smiling in a picture and you feel stiff, sometimes I just start laughing out loud in pictures because then it feels more genuine and I'm capturing a moment instead of some stiff, like I'm holding my breath and you can tell thing. You want to almost be exhaling and laughing. And also my biggest tip, kind of sort of a pet peeve, is look directly into the camera. The little lens, if you can see me, the iPhone has I always look at the top center where my camera is, and that just helps my eyes to go up. It opens my eyes. I get the pretty catch light in them. But if you're looking at yourself, it looks kind of odd. So you're not checking yourself out. Like you want to pretend you're like looking into your customer's eyes. Okay, so here's the difference between what I'm talking about. Left picture, I'm looking at myself to make sure that, and my eyes even look off, like one of them looks higher and smaller than the other. And then in the second one, I just look like I'm having a conversation with you. So I'm going to stop screen sharing for a second so I can show you what I'm talking about, where you can tilt your glasses. So if you are taking a picture with glasses, you can can you tell me if you can see this okay? Basically, you want to put your glasses on and have the tips of them go up a little bit. So if you were looking at me from the side, it looks funny, but all of a sudden you can't see the blue light in my glass, like that filter anymore, right? So look at them, blue light filter. And then if you take them and you tip them, done. So you can't tell from the side, but it makes a huge impact photo-wise. So really, really simple and game changer for us glasses wearers. So next we have color and Lightroom. So I mentioned this already, presets. Some people are like, ooh, I need presets. I can go spend some money on that. They enhance great photos, but they're not going to make them better. So if you just have like great, pretty pictures, it's so much better than throwing a filter on them where you're going to look super orange and tan and crazy. So Jessica, that's crazy that you were not taught that and you took a photography class. I have this for you guys, and it might be easier. I'm going to show you Lightroom on your phone. It's 6 minutes long. I'm going to just, it might be easier just to pull up the YouTube. So let me see. That looks kind of small. Wasn't sure how that was going to look when I was actually on the screen. Okay, so let's talk about the light. Okay, screen share and here. Okay, you can download this on your phone from your app store. We'll choose a photo to start with that is not great. This one is not awesome of me with the bad backlighting. We can't fix bad photos. We can try all of these different presets, but none of them are going to actually make this better. So the best thing to do is for us to take a good photo. Let's go back and pick a good one. We'll start with this one, good clear lighting. Actually, let's go to this one. This is a decent photo, but you'll see even these presets on here are going to make it look crazy and kind of harsh. And you can see that the lighting is nicer on the right-hand side, but on the left, there's the weird shadow. So it's good, but it could be even better if I paid more attention to the direction of the sun here. So let's go back one more time and choose one of the better photos. I'm facing my body toward the window in this picture. I'm connecting with my eyes. You can see the book title, and there's nothing too crazy in the background that should really be taking your attention away. We can try some presets on this picture. These are fun, but the best thing that I recommend is really just doing a few basic tweaks that we can go through that don't take a lot of time, that are more specific to the photo. So let's start with the lighting panel. We are going to adjust the light a little here, the exposure, make it a little bit brighter, take the contrast up, and I like to fix my highlights and shadows. Highlights are the white spots in the picture that tend to be too bright, so that kind of normalizes them. And then we take the shadows and the blacks and sort of emphasize those a bit more, and then pull the whites down. So then we go to the temperature. That's the color of the picture. So here it's a pretty good start, but ideally we'll want to, we can make it look a little warmer, or you can make me part of a Lumion group or look like I spent too much time in the sun. So we want to find a good happy medium, and I like to look for white spots in the pictures. That tends to give me a good indicator. And then tint is the color, so you're either going to make me more green or you're going to make me more pink, but skin tends to be a little bit more pink. You don't want to look like you're green and you have some weird disease. Be careful with your vibrance and saturation. I tend to mess with just one of these, typically vibrance, to make the color pop a little more. And then next, don't really mess with texture and clarity, but I do dehaze the picture. That's when the light is maybe a little bit much, and it'll make it a little less fuzzy looking. You can see that here the picture will just pop a little bit more. And vignette, let's not put it back in the 80s. So this is really, really simple. I don't mess with too many things on the details side of things. We don't need to over sharpen it. Over sharpening is just going to make it look like you have more wrinkles. Your wrinkles are going to be more emphasized, and none of us want that. Chromatic aberration and lens correction, that's just some things that it fixes that the lens, the actual camera lens, is a little off on. One thing I don't do is tend to shoot straight, so I like the straighten button. However, you can manually adjust the angle also. So you can play with this and see how it goes, but I tend to straighten everything because I never really shoot exactly correct. So just hold down on the screen and you can see a before and an after, and the after just pops a little more. The colors look nice and bright and airy. That's what I like to go for. And then you can export it and save it to your camera roll, so you have the original and this new copy. Now you can also take this picture and you can copy the settings by checking all of those blue boxes, and then find a picture that was taken in similar lighting. For instance, this one, same angle, same time of day, and paste those settings, and then see, okay, so now I have two consistent photos that match each other that are edited the same way. You can do, that's called batch editing. This one has a white background, so I want to make the background a little brighter. You can see that the original is just kind of dull. I also didn't straighten it very well, per usual. So make it a little bit brighter. And then I'm going to do the same things. I'm going to up my contrast, fix those highlights, fix the shadows and the blacks, and pull the whites down. And then we're going to go to the color. And this is where it's tricky because this cover is blue. So you have to be careful that you're not getting too crazy with this one. Blues and greens tend to be a little hard to correct for me, but you can see you don't want to make it super duper pink. So we'll make it, I mean, you can see a little more yellow doesn't look right to the eye. So just kind of play around until you feel it's better. That to me feels good. And then up that vibrance to make it pop, and then move on to your, I'm going to dehaze it a little bit, just give it a little bit more oomph. And then no sharpening, and select those lens corrections. And then you can see the before and after on this one also. So also I just want to make it a tad bit brighter. And then export to your camera roll and you're good to go. Okay. Hope seeing that was helpful. Lightroom is a little intimidating, I think, and it doesn't have to be. But you can also save those things. Like if you find yourself shooting in a similar area all the time, then you can save those presets as your very own and then just use them over and over again. So it's really simple. This is not popping up my second window today. Cool. Sorry guys, this is just not liking me. Canva. Okay, just gonna share this because why not? All right, so now we have our challenge. Well, first, helpful equipment. These are things that I find really useful. They had an IO stand as a reward, an HOC 1 month. And this thing is basically just a stand. You can put a magnet on the back of your phone. And I take that thing everywhere for photographing like especially if I'm photographing myself, I will use the IO stand and then the wireless remote. So then I can be holding a book a step farther back and away. I don't have to worry about my arm being at this weird angle to figure out how to crop out of the picture. And that I love. And another thing that I use is a tripod that has an arm like in the middle here so that my phone can be flat. And I can basically just set up my phone, especially when I'm doing pictures for like customer specials. I can set up my phone. I can keep my book in a similar place and keep the camera the same distance away from the book the whole time so that all of my pictures are uniform and I'm taking them at the same angle. So all of those adjustments that I make in Lightroom, I can just edit one picture and then go boom, 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 paste those same settings and it fixes all the things. It keeps everything as consistent as possible. I have these linked and I can share those with you guys if you're interested. Definitely love the wireless remote. And if you don't want to pay the $9 for that, use your self timer on your camera. That's a huge thing too. If you are looking for some presets, these are a couple. I have some light and airy and Boss Babe presets. But presets are not cheap, and you can see that didn't take me very long at all to edit those pictures. And sometimes those pictures on their websites just look really deceiving, and I've been displeased with how they actually look when they're applied to my pictures. So take that with a grain of salt. So now we have a challenge that is going to be part of the Be Seen. I have a spreadsheet for you guys. If you opened up Christy Vest's spreadsheet that she had with all of the new releases, I basically have copied that, and we have 2 different columns. If you've ordered new titles for yourself, what you're going to do is sign up for a book on the spreadsheet that you are going to photograph and then drop in an album on Google Drive. So that we've got amazing pictures of all of these titles that we can share amongst ourselves that will help with all of the graphics and things that we're creating for new templates too. But just think about pretty lighting, a pretty scene, and you're going to make an album in the Google Drive with your name so we know you did the challenge, and then the title of the book so we know what book you photographed. I have 2 columns on there just in case there are so many people across our team. So just in case everything gets taken right away, we can have a second sign up, because maybe someone's going to photograph it with lots of books in the background, and then somebody else photographs it with a white background. It'll give us some options and variety. So I will post the spreadsheet and the resources, like the things that I suggested you guys could maybe purchase if you're interested. But I'm going to stop sharing, and I can answer questions if you have them. So let me double check the chat. Jamie, what were you trying with your glasses? That's awesome. I'm so glad you guys liked this. Photography can just be really overly complicated, I think, with filters and all kinds of things. So just really keep it simple. My best tip, if you're going to venture into Lightroom, is find something that should be white. And if you're playing with the color, then try to make that white spot as white as you can. That's the absolute easiest thing. That's why I tend to use a lot of white, because then I can get the color better. Backgrounds for books, I use my bookshelves a lot. These, or I use the ones in our playroom. We have built-ins in there, or we have what I took the Kisses, Cuddles, and Goodnight picture on is our window seat, because then it's right by a window. The light is really pretty, but sometimes things are really harsh in there, or I get weird shadows. So that just kind of depends. But yeah, I don't know if you guys like also got the UBAM like ring light thing too. I don't use this a lot. I also tend to, if I know I need pictures for something, like for a template, and I'm going to pop my own pictures in there, I will tend to take pictures all at one time, or a lot of things all at once with pretty lighting, and edit them, and then use that to trickle through social media or through my template all at once, instead of me needing to do 5 different days of things. I have a girl on my team who will on Saturdays take pictures, and she changes outfits or changes her hair, her earrings or something. And she's amazing in her VIP group. So this is totally her jam. I don't care if I look the same in my pictures. So I'm not that high maintenance with my stuff, but you don't have to be. You only have your Android to work with. I know that there's the Lightroom app for your Android. Like, absolutely there is. I don't know about a portrait mode or something similar, but I know that you can totally do the same thing with Lightroom. You'll just take the same tips. It might just look a little different. What else do you guys have questions about? I can't wait to see the pictures that you guys take of the books. I'm going to share this actually in the comments right now, since you guys are live and on here. So you get first dibs on the books before this is actually posted to the consultant like groups and team pages and stuff. So go sign up and claim your book. Tips for taking pictures of kiddos enjoying the books. That's a really good question. Mine do too. And I still like to shoot in portrait mode a lot. I don't worry as much about camera angles and things with them. I fluctuate back and forth between focusing on the actual title of or like something in the book. I will tap here's a tip that I didn't mention. On an iPhone, you can tap what you want it to focus on. And so I like to make sure that it's always focused on my face. So like focus on a face. That's huge if you're taking a picture of your kids enjoying the books and you're like, oh, this looks really cool. Tap and focus on the book. So then your child is a little bit more blurred. Things to just be cautious about in general with photographing kids is angles. You don't take any pictures that are of like weird compromising positions. It's like, I have daughters, so just be really careful of that. Make sure they're covered and okay. And there are weird, creepy people, and we are sharing our lives on the internet. So just be cautious of that. That's really my thing. If you are someone who doesn't like to share your children's faces, there are so many ways that you can take the picture from above, looking down, behind their shoulder, that kind of thing. Sam, if you don't have, well, you can use Google, you can go to, I'll share the Google Drive album. You don't have to specifically have it downloaded. You can upload it through the website, so it'll be totally fine. Is it better to take selfies or have someone else take the pictures of me? Most of the time I'm completely by myself, and my husband takes worse pictures of me than I do of myself. So I take them by myself. I use the IO stand in my timer, or like my self timer on my camera or the remote a lot. And we'll just play with angles for what I'm looking for. But usually I do it by myself. If you've got someone who's readily available to take them, absolutely have them take it. But I like, just for instance, I take pictures of like for fitness purposes. And so my husband will take those pictures for me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like the camera is at the level of my butt. Like, what were you doing? Can you please take a different camera, like raise the camera to be at like eye level or something? It's so awful. So just choose wisely. That's all. Okay. Are you guys feeling okay about all of these things? Are you already picking your books? Some of you are. You guys are on it. This is awesome. So yeah, if you have any more questions about this, you're welcome to tag me or message me. Happy to help. So yeah, thanks guys. I'm really excited that you care about this and just having fun sharing books in your lives and all the things. So good luck. Can't wait to see them. And I'll share all of this stuff shortly. Bye guys.